right, welcome to everybody to this Shift live stream. My name is Brock Heasley, and I'm the writer and director of The Shift.
And I'm Orlando J. Gomez, producer of The Shift.
And we're really excited to meet with you today, but we want to kick things off by first of all welcoming all of our shifty soldiers, we call them sometimes, our fans of The Shift, and also the readers of the Babylon Bee who are joining us today. We're very, very excited
about
be
that.
Talking with you and introduce this new project from Angel Studios to you. And really the best way to do that is for you to go to, well, maybe listen to us and go to this, maybe on your phone or something. Don't just get rid of us just yet. But angel.com/The Shift. That is where we have our whole thing going on, where you can express interest in investing in this film we're doing called The Shift. Right. And if there is enough interest, we will open up another crowdfunding round. That's what we're hoping to do. So we're we're gauging interest right now. And so if you're at all interested, based on what you hear and what you see today, we would love to have you express your interest at angel.com/The Shift. But you're probably thinking, dude, I don't even know what you're talking about right now. So why don't we cut to this great video that we've put together to kind of tell you a little bit about what we're doing and what we're all about.
Why does Hollywood always get Bible movies so wrong? How could you cast Batman as Moses and still have the movie be more boring than church? Plus, they should have saved Christian Bale to play Jacob. Rachel! There are two problems when it comes to faith-based movies. Number one, most Christian films look cheap because they don't have the budget. Money may be the root of all evil, but it's also the root of a good movie. The second problem is when Hollywood attempts to make their own faith movie, which is when you get Noah talking to rock monsters. Was a global flood not epic enough for you, Hollywood? Most faith-based movies fall apart quickly. And watching them is like walking on Legos with your eyes. It's hard to feel God in a faith-based film when they have the production value of a church play.
I don't feel safe!
Hey, you don't cry until the last scene!
Pray for them. Hollywood has all of the production value, but none of the Christian value. How can we as believers enjoy a faith-based film that's as enjoyable as a blockbuster, but retains the power and truth of the Bible? We need a Hollywood-quality movie created by actual believers, and that movie is The Shift. It's about a man who meets the devil himself and gets banished to a dark, parallel earth where he fights to get back to the woman he loves. The script explores some of today's hardest questions about maintaining faith, like how can a loving God allow suffering? Or how can I overcome feelings of despair and hopelessness? Finally, you can see a faith-based film that feels like your favorite movies. The Shift is a sci-fi film that will make you think deeply like Inception and weep like Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar. Man, even his ugly cry looks good. I can't do it. I can't. I'm not that talented. Using popular genres to share faith-based stories is a great way to entertain and inspire a love for God. Look at C.S. Lewis, who used fantasy to share Christian themes and inspire millions. And make millions. Even Jesus used creative storytelling to make his sermons more interesting. Parables. I'm talking about parables. We need your help to turn The Shift into a full-length feature film. But rather than pass around a donation plate, we want you to own part of the movie. Express your interest in backing The Shift by clicking on the link today to be among the first to know if the offering launches. The plan is for The Shift to be distributed by Angel Studios, which helped The Chosen become the largest crowdfunded media project of all time. Angel Studios' distribution of The Chosen then went on to generate over $70 million in revenue and over 250 million views. Here's what the creator of The Chosen has to say about The Shift.
I have actually signed on to be one of the executive producers of The Shift, and I want to see more, and I want to be part of it. And it reaches me on both an intellectual level and an emotional level.
Angel Studios also helped the Wingfeather Saga, an animated fantasy series created by a Christian author, become the largest crowdfunded kids and family animated project in history. When you invest in The Shift, you're not just investing in a groundbreaking Christian film. You have the potential to share in the profits. Now, we don't have one of these profits to promise that you'll make this profit. But I am going to repeat that The Chosen earned $70 million in revenue. That's the highest earning faith-based project of the last 2 years. The Shift not only has the incredible potential in the marketplace, it's just an incredible movie. Listen to these reviews from folks who watched the short film. Jane F. wrote, "This looks amazing. I've never seen a faith-based film like this." Ronnie said, "There's actually no way to convey how this spoke to me just now. I look forward to seeing what God does with this film." And Jason commented recently with, "Wow, just wow." And what will really wow you is discovering that the short film was created with almost zero budget and it has already touched hundreds of thousands of lives. Imagine the impact the shift can have on hearts and minds with the proper funds. Most indie Christian films operate with a budget of about $500,000. And honestly, it shows. She's fine. Maybe the little shepherd boy could say a quick prayer? Yep, we good? With 10 times the production value, we can truly do justice to the epic themes in the Bible. So express your interest in backing the shift by clicking on the link today. Look, there's nothing wrong with a film that's a labor of love, but those usually just become cult classics, which is not the best label for a Christian movie to receive. Enjoy Sunday morning values with Saturday night entertainment. Click on the link to express your interest in backing the shift today to be among the first to know if the offering launches.
And that link is angel.com/theshift. If you head on over there right now, you can pledge your interest and let us know if you'd like to see The Shift made as a film. And if you let us know if you're interested in investing. I mean, that's really what we're offering here.
Right.
If the offering launches, it's about you becoming partners with us to make this film possible. It's not just, hey, we toss you a T-shirt and you're good to go. No, you're part of this thing, and there's a chance to make some money back.
Yeah, and it's not a donation. It's not. We're not just giving away money. It's an investment. So you'd actually share in those profits. Yeah.
And look, while we're live here, if you have any questions about the film or any questions about the film process, please let us know in the comments, and we have a way that we can see those, and we'll respond to them if we can. So we got a really, really cool lineup here today. We have one guest coming with us, but it's a big guest. It's a really important guest. Yep. It's a guest that a filmmaker friend of mine recently referred to him as a literal genius. So we're going to be joined by Kyle Mann, the editor-in-chief of the Babylon Bee. He's going to be joining us here in just about 5 minutes. We just got a message from Paula Sue. She says, "Hey, Shift family." Hey, Paula Sue, good to see you.
Said hi. How's it going?
Good to see you. And also Kara says, "So happy to see you too." Good to see you too,
hey,
Kara. I got to stop dipping my head way down here. It's just, that's where it is on my screen. We've got some exciting things going on. In that video that you just saw, the current pledge amount was at $522,000. I took that screenshot yesterday. It is already right now at $684,000. So we've seen a giant jump in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, it was a huge jump since yesterday.
Yeah, and so with that, we want to make you a promise right now. If we are able to get $10,000 total in pledges today, while we're live,
during the stream,
during the stream, while we're live right now, if we can see a $10,000 increase, and I think we've already seen 2,000 since we just started talking, literally 8 minutes ago. But if we can see a total of 10, we would love to reveal something that we've never revealed before today. A production story. We'll talk a little bit about the screenwriting process and show off some art, some storyboard art that no one has ever seen.
So let's say 692.
So
that's our goal.
That's our goal. 692. We can get to a total of $692,000 in pledges. While we are live right now, we will show some never before seen storyboard art and share some production stories with you.
Yep.
We're so excited to have the Babylon Bee join us. I mean, that's really the thrill of this for me. I'm a big fan of the Babylon Bee. I think they are one of the premier names and voices in satire right now. And the great thing is they're doing conservative Christian satire.
It's there's not a whole lot of satire out there, period. And then there's not a whole lot of really good conservative voices out there. So it's truly a unicorn.
It is.
It's a unicorn in both rights, and then together it's like a mega unicorn.
It's a unicorn, and it's actually good.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing that
it's funny.
It doesn't have to be good for people to want to read it because it is a unicorn, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I'm starving for content like this. Let me check this out, and then you read it, and it's like, oh my gosh, wait a minute,
it's really funny.
It's really
smart,
funny.
and it's very clever. It's a blast. You can get lost in that.
So we're so honored to be joined by Kyle today. And, we appreciate the support of the Babylon Bee. We appreciate the support of other Christian media creators that are excited about this. One of them is Dallas Jenkins, who is the creator of The Chosen. He is excited about the shift. And in fact, he is so excited about the shift that he has signed on to be one of our executive producers, which is a huge honor and a huge deal for us. And actually, let's see what Dallas has to say about The Shift. Let's check that out right now.
Hey there, I'm Dallas Jenkins. I'm the creator of The Chosen, and I wanted to share with you a little bit of why I have actually signed on to be one of the executive producers of The Shift. I remember when I first saw the short film, The Shift, it was probably a couple years ago, and I remember thinking to myself, I don't know who this person is who made this, and I had heard that they did it for no money, but I'm really impressed, and I believe that this guy has a future. And I wanted to see more. I wanted to see where The Shift turned out. I wanted to see how it could be expanded upon. I wanted to see what Brock could do with an actual budget. So The Shift now has a relatively small budget. They're really keeping the budget low, and that's one of the things I'm trying to do, is help them maximize the budget that they do have, and making sure that every penny that we spend is spent in the best and most efficient way possible, which is one of the things that I hope, if you've seen The Chosen, you've realized we did there too, was we didn't have Hollywood money, but we had enough to make something special. And I think that's what Brock has now. I think he's going to get, and I hope you can help him get, enough to make something special. And I think the message of The Shift and the future of The Shift is so important. And almost as important as any of that is Brock Heasley. He didn't ask me to say this, I promise, but I can tell you I've seen his work on a writing side, I've seen it on the directing side, and in my 20 years in the business, there are very few people who I've thought, I want to pour into this person because I think that this person has the chance to be an impactful and disruptive and important storyteller in this business, and that is Brock. Brock is someone who, when I read what he's writing, I'm connected to it. And I want to see more, and I want to be part of it. And it reaches me on both an intellectual level and an emotional level. And if you've seen The Chosen, maybe that's what you've appreciated about it as well, is that it's not just pure emotion. It's emotion that has some thought behind it, but it's also not pure intellect. It's intellect that has some heart behind it. And all of that is, there's kind of an umbrella over all of it of a spiritual importance. Something is being said about our universe and who created it.
I am greater than God. Jesus Christ.
And that's what The Shift is about. That's what The Chosen is about. It's one of the reasons why I've signed on board, and I hope you can get involved as well to be part of the beginning of what I believe is an important project and who I believe is an important filmmaker.
Express your interest in backing The Shift by clicking on the link today to be among the first to know if the offering launches.
All right, so that was Dallas Jenkins giving us his perspective on The Shift and a little bit about why he has signed on to be an executive producer on this film.
It's a fantastic endorsement.
It's an amazing endorsement. When that video came in, I'll admit I got a little teary. It meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to me, and it speaks to, I think, how special this project is.
Yeah, absolutely,
for so many people. Let's see. Jane says, agree with what Dallas has to share. Thank you, Jane. We do too. So I want to up the ante. We've already announced that if we can get $10,000 in total pledges today, that we will share with you some unseen storyboards and a little peek behind the production process. But I think we need another goal.
Sure.
I think we need another goal. Yeah. Just another stretch goal here. Mm-hmm. If we can get to $700,000 total pledges while we're live right now, Orlando, what are you going to do?
Oh, I'm going to tell an embarrassing story.
Yeah.
And it's a good one.
So Orlando told me what story he's going to share. It's an embarrassing story about me.
It's an embarrassing story. Yeah, specifically about you.
It's to embarrass me. This is a story that is so embarrassing that I have not allowed you or my wife, who also was present,
she's aware,
to tell the story to anybody at all. Yeah. Period. Yep. Much less to the world, which is what we're now threatening to do. Mm-hmm. So if we can reach 700,000 in total pledges during this live stream, that story will be unleashed. I'm very much of two minds as to what I want to happen here.
Look at that.
One person just pledged $500 and another $1,000. Awesome. Thank you so much to both of you, and welcome. Hopefully very soon to our team.
Yeah.
That is very exciting. So it's going up, and I'm getting more nervous.
Yeah, we're 1,500 closer to truth being told here.
So, but our first stretch goal is to get to 692 total, and in which case we will share those storyboards. And remember, you want to go to angel.com/theshift. That's where you can see all this happen and make that pledge. It only takes like a minute or so. It's really easy to do. And also, if anybody wants to hit us with any questions while we're live right now, we welcome them. Please hit us with your questions, and we'll answer as many as we can. All right, I think we have delayed Kyle enough. I think we want to bring him in. This is Kyle Mann, the editor-in-chief of the Babylon Bee. Kyle, are you with us?
I am.
There he is. All right.
Hey.
Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's going to be a lot of fun.
No, we're very excited to talk with you. And we had a chance to chat a little bit before we started all of this. And so we kind of know a little bit about your mind and your heart. But real quick, for those that are just meeting you for the first time, and I know the Babylon Bee, of course, all your readers, they know you very, very well. But some of our people may not know about you. Where's your heart when it comes to Christian media projects? Like, what do you think about what's out there, and maybe what you'd like to see?
How honest do you want me to be about my opinion on things that are out there?
Bring it.
We are Christians, and we are all about the truth here. So speak your heart.
Yeah, I mean, I think, if anybody's who's watching is a fan of the Babylon Bee, you know that we take Christian movies to task and Christian music to task quite a bit over the quality. It always seems like Christians are doing things that the world did 20 years ago, and we're doing them worse. So it's kind of like, so we're trailing the world both in quality and time. And it's like, here, you could watch this, this movie that's, just like something that came out in the secular market 20 years ago, and now it's not as good, but there's an altar call at the end. So, it affirms your religious beliefs. I think Christian media tends to not want to ask hard questions and to put its characters through tough situations. We want to start right at the end of the narrative. We want to start where everything is happy, and we don't want our characters to undergo any kind of challenges.
Right.
We don't understand that there is this narrative arc, and I truly believe this is something that God has written onto our hearts, is that we love a good story. And that for the ending, the good, happy ending to have any meaning, we need our characters to go through hell, in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
we don't like that. We don't like that.
No, it makes us uncomfortable, and I think anytime you get into any kind of content that's actually real and serious, there's a certain segment of your audience that is going to be uncomfortable by that. And what I would say to them generally is, that's not a bad thing. Like, we need to pass through some of that discomfort in order to get to the good things that are on the other side of that. That's true in life, and I think that should be true in our fiction as well.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to knock Christian movies and stuff too hard. Like, I do think there is a market and a place for movies that are just that just don't have terrible content in them, that you're embarrassed when you're if your grandma were in the room with you. So I mean, when you look at some of the stuff Hollywood's putting out, I'd rather watch God's Not Dead than some of that stuff. But I do think there is a sense in which we haven't been very good at it. We want Christian art to just convert people, and we don't want to make art just because it's good to make art, that God has made us that way, to make something that's true, good, and beautiful. And I think that is something that's really lacking in Christian circles and Protestant circles specifically.
Yeah, I totally agree. And one of the starting points for the shift is the story of Job, which is the story of a man who has faith but is going through this incredible suffering. I mean, some of the most he experiences more suffering than almost anyone else who's ever lived, save Jesus Christ, of course.
Sure.
And that was kind of the jumping off point for me in the writing of the movie, was to say, okay, well, what does that look like in the modern day? And we have a sci-fi twist that we put in there, but really we're looking at the story of Job as, this is not a guy who now he believes and now his life is better. Right. It's actually the opposite of that. It's now he believes and now everything's worse.
Yeah.
And so, to me, that's a really challenging place to start. How do you reconcile that as a believer? And how do you look at that and what answers and what questions can we ask within that? Why does God allow suffering? That's one of the big questions.
Well, and I think beyond that too, I mean, that feels as difficult as that is closer to reality, right? In most instances, when you do make that conversion, so to speak, and you give your life over, it demands change, and change is not easy, and many times that makes life a lot more difficult because maybe that's sure relationships have to end or have to change, or people don't treat you the same way, don't look at you the same way. Like it costs something. It often costs something, and so we haven't really seen that a whole lot in our media and our entertainment. And like that was one of my big draw to it, is like, that's exactly what we're tackling, right? Now, and obviously the sci-fi element, I love that. It's a great addition. But I think that's something we don't really see, but we need to explore and we need to talk about.
Yeah.
We need more Christian sci-fi in this world. The first studio that makes Christian Battlestar Galactica, I will throw bundles of money at them.
I'll tell you what, you're speaking to my heart. That is one of my favorite shows, and if we were to ever create something of that quality and at that level, I would hope to be involved in it, to be honest. Like, that sounds amazing. So let's talk about that. I mean, it's not like science fiction really is something that gets tossed into the faith story a whole lot, right, or ever that I can really think of. But at the same time, it's not like we haven't seen something similar to that before.
Sure.
And what I'm really thinking of specifically is fantasy. Fantasy and faith have actually mixed together quite well, and a lot more often in the past. And I'm thinking, of course, of the Chronicles of Narnia. Kyle, you're familiar with the Chronicles of Narnia, I'm assuming. What is your take on that?
Yeah, no, never heard of it. No, I was just kidding. Yeah,
I mean, is it okay to have a Christian, story with a talking lion and a witch? I mean, that's what we're talking about here,
right?
Yeah, look at Narnia and look at Lord of the Rings. And
correct.
There you have, what's very interesting is you have two diametrically opposed approaches to the way that you integrate your faith into your work of fantasy. You have C.S. Lewis, who Jesus is a lion. That's how clear the allegory is. This lion is Jesus. I think literally in Chronicles of Narnia, like it's not even an allegory. It's like he is Jesus that just happens to appear in a different way in a different world. But what a fantastic world! But what a fantastic world he created, and what a fantastic way to teach different lessons. And it's very instructional in that way. But then you look at something like Tolkien, where he hated allegory, and yet what he does is he uses the Christ myth. I'm not saying that Christ was a myth, but he uses that narrative. Yeah. To say, like, this is an echo through all of our mythology because it's the true myth. It's Christ on earth. It's God among us, and he uses that story and lots of different Christian themes that are just woven into his work, and without Tolkien's Catholic faith, you don't have Lord of the Rings, which is not only the greatest work of fantasy of all time, but the foundational text for all of modern fantasy. That's a guy who just wanted to make something cool. He just wanted to write something and create a world, and he's not sitting here trying to convert you, and I don't even think Lewis is necessarily trying to convert you with Narnia. He's trying to echo these timeless truths in a little more of an on-the-nose allegorical way, but yeah, that's one way that fantasy can truly have a Christian foundation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Lauren just pledged $150. Thank you so much, Lauren.
Lauren.
We are edging closer to that 10,000 total. Also, someone else just pledged $150. Thank you very much. That is awesome to see. Yeah,
and another $100
and another for $100. It keeps coming. We can't keep it up with it.
I should talk more, because when I talk, the money rolls in. Apparently,
yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, no kidding, right? So I'm going to make this next comment as brief as possible, so we can get right back to Kyle. But that's what I love about Lord of the Rings, is that it is so, like, the themes, the good versus evil, the Christian understanding of that, and those themes are so embedded within that narrative. And to me, that's the way you do it. Like, I don't mind allegory, and in fact, we often refer to The Shift as kind of an allegorical tale. We're using the allegories that are available to us within science fiction to express these themes. But I think that that's really the job of a good storyteller. Like, tell a good story first. The themes will emerge, and especially if it's being made by believers,
Correct.
which we are, our whole team is, then the themes that are special and important to us, those are going to emerge naturally into the story. And that's the kind of film that The Shift is. There's no preaching. There's no moment of preaching that doesn't happen, but it's very clear what the worldview is, and it's very approachable for non-believers. I mean, that's really the goal here, is to make a film that can cross over both ways, that you can take your non-believer friend, sit them down in front of it without reservation, and they can just enjoy the film. And if there are seats planted, great. They're there. But if you just focus on that, if you just focus on the message, if that's your primary thing, you're going to make something that's compromised, and that isn't going to be as good.
Right. Yeah. You know, that was one of the things we kept talking about from day one, is like, we just want to make a good movie, right? At the end of the day, it's a good movie, and it happens to have a good message because of the source of the writing. Right.
And the source of our inspiration.
Well, but all I'd say, like, the focus is still just like, we want to make a good movie. And then, because, like you said, an outpouring of who you are and the things you believe in your faith, that works its way into the storytelling. And then that's where you get your faith component. But it doesn't have to be one or the other.
No. Not at all. Not at all. It shouldn't be anyway. If this all sounds good to you and you're aligned with our goals and you want to see more media like this and not like some of the other things that we're not naming, but that we're definitely talking about, you go to angel.com/theshift. You can pledge your support there. And then that lets us know, hey, we should open up another round of crowdfunding so that everybody can invest. That's really what we're trying to do now, is gauge interest. Is there interest? Are there people out there who want to pour into this project? And become partners with us? That's angel.com/theshift. Looks like
Did we lose him?
Yeah. Looks like we're having a little bit of trouble with Kyle right now, so we're gonna wait to get him back. Orlando, you talked a little bit about, you know, why you think The Shift is important. What first attracted you to the project? Well, I mean, you kind of got just real briefly, because Kyle did just come back. Like, what?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like what we touched on already. You know, I've been working in the film world for 16 years, and I was one of those that, like Kyle, not a big fan of the faith based films that were out at the time. I watched all of them because I felt it was my duty to do so as a filmmaker and as a Christian. But I always felt like, man, why can't I have a movie that is like the ones that I actually sit down and want to watch, that I really enjoy, and it be aligned with my faith, right? Because it was always one or the other. And when I read the script, it's like, oh, this is that thing, This is that thing that I was open for, and to be a part of that was always something in the back of my mind. Is like, I hope that not only does that content come forth, but then I can work on it, and it's like, oh, I can, so please pick me.
Kyle, good to have you back. We just had someone else pledge another $500. We're getting closer and closer to that 10,000 mark while we're live here. Any final thoughts for us, Kyle, on what you want to see?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just want to encourage you guys, I mean, to be out there making good stuff, you know, that's not, to be out there making art that's not just, you know, like you said, people feel like they have a duty to watch it because they agree with it, you know, but they can be proud to watch it because it asks interesting questions and it struggles and it doesn't talk down to the viewer. You know, I think it's just awesome what you guys are doing. You know, and I want to encourage all of our Babylon Bee fans and followers to check it out. To check out The Shift, and to see when that goes live here, and to pledge some money, because we need, you know, we're kind of outside Hollywood, we're outside all the traditional funding circles, both us at the Babylon Bee and you guys, you know, and Angel Studios and all that. And I mean, let's put our money where our mouth is and let's make some good stuff. You know, that's the only way that we're really going to that we're going to get this stuff made, because Hollywood ain't going to make it. You know, so if you're concerned about censorship, if you're concerned about the way that liberals control 98% of all of our cultural institutions, then put your money where your mouth is, and let's get the shift made.
Yeah, no, thank you. You're speaking right to our hearts. You know, one of the reasons that we are so excited to work with Angel Studios is because we are operating way outside the Hollywood system. And look, Hollywood kind of knows what it's doing when it comes to making quality films at a certain level. You know, one of the big inspirations for the shift is the films of Christopher Nolan. I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan. But you're right. As far as like the values that they are espousing and the types of things that they make, it's not this. It's not this. They're never going to touch this. But we believe that there is a giant audience out there for this. And so we just appreciate your words so much on that. That is what we want to do here. And we believe that there is a crowd for this. And if Hollywood won't do it, and they won't, then we got to do it ourselves.
That's right.
For sure. Well, thank you so much, Kyle. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot, guys, and God bless the project. This is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome. Big fan, sir. You take care. And let's go ahead and check out that pitch video again.
Why does Hollywood always get Bible movies so wrong? How could you cast Batman as Moses and still have the movie be more boring than church? Plus, they should have saved Christian Bale to play Jacob. Rachel! There are two problems when it comes to faith-based movies. Number one, most Christian films look cheap because they don't have the budget. Money may be the root of all evil, but it's also the root of a good movie. The second problem is when Hollywood attempts to make their own faith movie, which is when you get Noah talking to rock monsters. Was a global flood not epic enough for you, Hollywood? Most faith-based movies fall apart quickly. And watching them is like walking on Legos with your eyes. It's hard to feel God in a faith-based film when they have the production value of a church play.
I don't feel safe!
Hey, you don't cry until the last scene!
Pray for them. Hollywood has all of the production value, but none of the Christian value. How can we as believers enjoy a faith-based film that's as enjoyable as a blockbuster, but retains the power and truth of the Bible? We need a Hollywood-quality movie created by actual believers, and that movie is The Shift. It's about a man who meets the devil himself and gets banished to a dark, parallel Earth where he fights to get back to the woman he loves. The script explores some of today's hardest questions about maintaining faith, like how can a loving God allow suffering? Or how can I overcome feelings of despair and hopelessness? Finally, you can see a faith-based film that feels like your favorite movies. The Shift is a sci-fi film that will make you think deeply like Inception, and weep like Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar. Man, even his ugly cry looks good. I can't do it. I can't. I'm not that talented. Using popular genres to share faith-based stories is a great way to entertain and inspire a love for God. Look at C.S. Lewis, who used fantasy to share Christian themes and inspire millions. And make millions. Even Jesus used creative storytelling to make his sermons more interesting. Parables. I'm talking about parables. We need your help to turn The Shift into a full-length feature film. But rather than pass around a donation plate, we want you to own part of the movie. Express your interest in backing The Shift by clicking on the link today to be among the first to know if the offering launches. The plan is for The Shift to be distributed by Angel Studios, which helped The Chosen become the largest crowdfunded media project of all time. Angel Studios' distribution of The Chosen then went on to generate over $70 million in revenue and over 250 million views. Here's what the creator of The Chosen has to say about The Shift.
I have actually signed on to be one of the executive producers of The Shift, and I want to see more, and I want to be part of it. And it reaches me on both an intellectual level and an emotional level.
Angel Studios also helped the Wingfeather Saga, an animated fantasy series created by a Christian author, become the largest crowdfunded kids and family animated project in history. When you invest in The Shift, you're not just investing in a groundbreaking Christian film. You have the potential to share in the profits. Now, we don't have one of these prophets to promise that you'll make this profit. But I am going to repeat that The Chosen earned $70 million in revenue. That's the highest earning faith-based project of the last 2 years. The Shift not only has the incredible potential in the marketplace, it's just an incredible movie. Listen to these reviews from folks who watched the short film. Jane F. wrote, "This looks amazing. I've never seen a faith-based film like this." Ronnie said, "There's actually no way to convey how this spoke to me just now. I look forward to seeing what God does with this film." And Jason commented recently with, "Wow, just wow." And what will really wow you is discovering that the short film was created with almost zero budget and it has already touched hundreds of thousands of lives. Imagine the impact the shift can have on hearts and minds with the proper funds. Most indie Christian films operate with a budget of about $500,000, and honestly, it shows. She's fine. Maybe the little shepherd boy could say a quick prayer? Yep, we good? With 10 times the production value, we can truly do justice to the epic themes in the Bible. So express your interest in backing The Shift by clicking on the link today. Look, there's nothing wrong with a film that's a labor of love, but those usually just become cult classics, which is not the best label for a Christian movie to receive. Enjoy Sunday morning values with Saturday night entertainment. Click on the link to express your interest in backing The Shift today to be among the first to know if the offering launches.
Okay, Orlando, favorite line in that pitch video?
Rachel!
I knew it. I'll tell you what, there was an internal debate. It was the Rachel joke too specific that we wouldn't reach people, and it turns out no, that's the joke everybody
it's perfect.
loves. Everybody gets
it's
the
great.
Rachel joke.
I love it.
It's so great.
Did have to explain it to somebody on set. Which was really funny. And once he understood it, he's like, "Oh, that's hilarious."
Well, and my wife was like, "Take that out. Take that out. I don't get it." And I'm like, "No, but other people will." And when they get it, they will laugh, and they do. All right. Well, we've got some questions here. But before we do that, we are so close to our goal for tonight. We are $3,000 shy of our $10,000 goal while we're live here. If that happens, we will show some storyboards, some never before seen storyboards, and take you on a little peek behind the scenes of this production. So we're looking for $3,000 in pledges more. To get to that, go to angel.com/theshift to do that. We do have some questions here. What's our first question? Anybody's got a question, drop it in the comments. Our moderators will get them to us and we will answer them live if we can.
Roper.
Let's see. Question from Roper here. What was your favorite part of filming the promo video? Oh boy, I'll tell you, that promo video was about as fun to shoot as it looks, as it is to watch. It really was a blast doing it. I think probably my favorite part was also the most nerve-wracking part. You can probably think already of what I'm talking about here.
Oh, it's from the ladder, the angel?
No, no, not the ladder on the angel, because we used a dummy on that. That was safe. But there is a point in the pitch video where our spokesperson Jason takes the 10 Commandments and he throws them down on the ground.
Yes.
And you find out very quickly those 10 Commandments are made out of Legos because they shatter into a million pieces. Well, as you can imagine, 2 giant tablets of 10 Commandments made out of Legos are fairly fragile.
Yes.
And so there was a lot of nervousness on set as he held those things.
It was like falling apart as we were taking out the
They were almost falling apart as we were taking them out of the pack. Custom built. Custom built.
Yeah.
And shipped across country just in time for the shoot. And he's holding these things. And mind you, if they break apart, there's no turning back from that. There's no putting them back together. There's way too many pieces, and none of us knew how to do it.
We had one shot.
We had one shot at it, and it had to be a perfect first take. And thankfully, it was. What you see on screen is exactly what happened on that first.
It's like our equivalent of like a car crash sequence.
Yeah.
You get one take.
You get one chance. So we had 3 cameras going, and we're just praying that Jason
hit the mark,
hit the mark, and deliver the line without stuttering. Yeah. And sure enough, he did. It was incredible. It was incredible. We got a question here from Jim. How do we share the promotional video with others who might want to pledge interest in investing? Jim, that is a great question. And right now, that promo video is going out as an ad.
Yeah, it's just ads right now.
And if you stumble on the ad on Facebook, there is a share button, and you can share from there. We haven't yet posted the actual pitch video just on our page so that you can just find it easily.
Probably will soon.
But we will soon. Yeah. Honestly, the pitch video that you're seeing right now is not quite the final pitch video.
Right.
Once that final pitch video is released, that's when we'll post it on our page, and you'll be able to share it with others. But for right now, hopefully your Facebook algorithm will feed it to you, and you can catch it. but possibly maybe our moderators could hunt that down and copy the link for that for Jim and stick it in our comments so that Jim can see it. That would be the other way for that to happen. I wouldn't mind that at all. I'm sure Jim wouldn't mind either. So hopefully we can make that happen for you, Jim. Any other questions? Hit us with them. I can speak.
I ain't no words.
We are now only, oh my
away.
gosh, we are so close to our $10,000 goal. We are $1,000 away. If we can get just $1,000 more in pledges, we will release this art that no one has ever seen before, these storyboards no one has ever seen before, and we will give you some peek behind the scenes here.
I haven't even seen them. I mean, I saw the drafts. I've seen the drafts. I haven't seen the finished one.
They're that fresh.
Yeah, it's that fresh. So please, let's make this happen because I want to see them too.
Let's see these storyboards together. No, very exciting. Can you believe that we've had $9,000 since we started this?
That's awesome.
I mean, that was 40 minutes ago. 40 minutes ago, $9,000. It's incredible. So one of the things that people ask us about, or sometimes complain about, is the fact that we are mixing science fiction with faith. And why would you do that? Like, what is the point of that? Why would you take something that's very true, which is our faith,
right,
and the thing that is probably the most important thing to us,
right,
and why would we mix it with something that's fictional? Mm-hmm. And Orlando, I know you got a ton of thoughts about this.
Yeah. No, I think the biggest misnomer with it is that because we're injecting science fiction, all of a sudden everything becomes untrue. Mm-hmm. That it's now a false narrative. It's a false teaching, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But I think it's a misunderstanding of the nuance of it. Right. It's we're intentionally doing something that we're not saying this is how it is. We're not saying this is our theology that Satan moves people in and out of multiple universes and there's multiple versions of us. Like we're not making that claim. It should be. We're hoping that it's far-fetched enough and sci-fi enough that it's obvious we're making that part up, right? Mm-hmm. But in the course of the story, all the themes, all the subtext, all the characterization, that is very much aligned with the Bible, and that's where the truth lies. It's what is the message, underlying message, the overall message, what is that conveying? And every movie has that. Every movie has that. Every movie is trying to get you to see a perspective, to believe something, to fall in line with, and we're just doing the same thing, but with a biblical foundation as that underlying through line. So. Yeah, I mean, I don't see a problem with it.
No, it's no more illegitimate than any story we tell in order to get across an idea, or a theme, or even a lesson. Right. And we're just happy to use it. We happen to use science fiction because we're big science fiction fans. Right. It's a very popular genre. It's the most popular genre in terms of box office. So this is a really great way to go if we're trying to reach people who would maybe never look at a faith-based film. Mm-hmm. And that's really the goal with this. Mm-hmm. Is like, let's reach a whole audience that would never think twice about stepping into a faith-based film. Let's show them a film that they can get really excited about because it's just a great science fiction story first and foremost. Right. And that's something that the best science fiction has been doing for years. I mean, look at Star Trek. Star Trek talked, if you go back and you watch the original series and even the subsequent series, but especially the original series, so much of that was about talking about the times that the show was first released, the issues that were going on, the racism and the civil unrest. All of these things were brought through into Star Trek, which was taking place in a far-flung future. But because they did it in that way with science fiction, everybody was able to come to the table and enjoy that show and talk about it. And
they're doing different species of aliens and things like that. But it's clear what the subtext is. It's clear the points they're trying to make.
Right.
And that's what we're doing here.
It's called art, people. It's called art. And that's what we're trying to do here.
It's called art. There
was a question here that we missed. Moderator, can we get that back up? Oh, crud.
Well, right. Hold that. Let's get back to the question first, and then we'll come to that. But that's awesome. I'm excited. Thank you.
All right. The question here from Sierra is, will you explore Kevin's wife's journey in the full-length film or The Girl from the Diner? Sierra, the answer to your question is Kevin is the main character of the film. However, Kevin's wife is one of our major characters. Kevin's wife, if you've watched the short film, for those of you that haven't watched the short film, please go to angel.com/theshift, check it out. but Kevin's wife Molly is an important figure in the short film, but you don't really see her a whole lot.
Right.
In fact, she never even gets a close up, which is really sad because she's played by my wife, and I get grief for that all the time. But she won't be playing Molly in the feature film, but she is in the short film. But anyway, in the feature film, Molly becomes a major character, and in a lot of ways, Molly is what the whole film is about. It's about Kevin trying to get back to Molly, and so yes, we will see a lot more of her. We will see her journey. There's a lot more with Molly to come, and the same goes for Tina, the girl from the diner. In the short film, there's a crucial moment in which this poor waitress named Tina really, well, if you haven't seen it, I'll just say Satan comes after her, and she really goes through a traumatic experience. And I would be a very bad storyteller if we didn't follow up with Tina and find out what happens to her after she goes through this. So yes, we will also be following up with Tina, the girl from the diner, for sure. All right.
Nice.
We made our goal, sort of. So I'm going to call out our moderator here because our goal was actually 692. That's what.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. It was 692.
So
but
we're
close
actually.
enough.
We're going to call it. We're close enough. Okay, yeah. We're close enough.
I want to see it.
All right. Orlando, as a producer, has made an executive decision, and we're going to go ahead and call it good on our goal. But that doesn't mean that we don't want you to keep on pledging. Please keep on pledging. But let's go ahead and let's reveal these brand new storyboards. Now, these storyboards, slightly spoilerish, although we're not going to really give you a whole lot of context for what you're about to see. But these storyboards are from the third act of the film. So this is something that takes place way after what's in the short film. But these storyboards will give you a glimpse as to some of the things that we're going to be doing in the third act. And I know that those storyboards are coming up here really soon. But
there they are.
There we go. So I'm just going to let these play, and I'm just going to talk about them generally so that I'm not spoiling anybody who doesn't want to be spoiled. But, when you write a screenplay, you really are trying to, it's a lot different than writing a book, which is something I've also done, where so much of what occurs is within the language of the words itself. With a screenplay, when you're writing a screenplay, you know that everything you're writing has to be translated into images.
I love that.
And so you're really writing that. You're writing towards these incredible images that you're hoping to execute. And these storyboards represent some of those images. And these storyboards, for me as the director, because I'll also be directing this film, these storyboards help me to visualize and help me to kind of map out what it is that we're going to be shooting. So these represent shots that I've had in mind for years, and now they're finally executed on the page. This is going to help me communicate better with our director of photography, helps me communicate better with our actors and with the crew to let them know what the vision is for what this film is going to look and feel like. And what you're seeing right now are some of the most, this one is awesome.
That's cool.
That's cool. Some of the most exciting sequences that we have in this film. I mean, the third act in this film is really where things just go completely nuts. And
some great shots. That's awesome. I mean, he's got a reflection,
right?
These are really well done.
These are really good storyboards. We got the artist behind these storyboards is a man by the name of Kevin Mann, and he actually his day job is working on a Marvel. He does storyboards for a Marvel animated show called Hit Monkey. Also worked previously on the show Archer on FX. Really, really great cartoonist, great artist, and he's really dug into this project in a way that honestly blows me away, because this is really like he's taking my mind's eye and he's just putting it on the page here.
Well, I love that he's taking it's a cinematic approach. Like this is this is clearly a camera shot. It's not just this scene, like he's really in the cinema space.
Yeah, no, totally.
I love that.
Totally. Yeah, we spent a lot of time talking, Kevin and I, talking about how is the camera going to move and what kinds of things is the camera going to do. So it's not just like this is a comic book or something like that. There's a lot of thought here into what is the camera doing and how do we represent that through these images. And so all of this is a result of hours of conversations between us. Someone just pledged $20.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Every bit counts, and we are getting really close, I think, to making our decision as to whether or not we're going to launch another round.
Pledged $500.
And Melanie, I'm talking over you.
No,
Go
it's
ahead.
all
You
good.
take
No,
that
just-
one. You
yeah,
take that
Melanie
one.
pledged 500. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank you,
that.
Melanie. So one of the big reasons that we're doing these storyboards in the first place is because these are actually all going to be edited into a video called an animatic.
Mm-hmm.
And an animatic is kind of an industry term that most people are probably not familiar with. But basically what it means is that it's like a lightly animated storyboards. So all of these storyboards, first of all, you're seeing like maybe a dozen boards right now.
Right.
The actual total number of boards that we're having done is over 500. And these over 500 images are being edited together right now. And we're adding some sound design and we're adding some music. And they're going to be edited together into a video. And we also have performances from our actors from the short film. They've come back for this. Someone just pledged $150.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness. Thank you. And so this video that we're creating, this animatic, it's probably about a 10-minute video. And what it's going to do is it's going to give us as the people making the film a good idea of like what these sequences are going to play out like.
Kind of a previs.
Yeah, kind of a previs. So we can communicate with our effects people and the different departments and say, okay, this is what it's supposed to look and feel like. But also, it's something we're going to release to the public. You are going to get a chance to see this animatic. It is a little spoilery because it does take place in the third act. But if you want to watch this thing, you're going to get the opportunity to do so really fast. Really soon.
Yeah.
And look, the point of this is that we are trying to partner with you. We see you as partners with us. We want to bring you into this process. That means transparency.
Mm-hmm.
That means you get to see what it is that you're investing in. One of the things we did last in the spring is that we actually took the feature film script and we released it to the public.
That was an interesting conversation leading up to that.
Yeah, but why? Why was that
that's insane. Like, you don't do that. That's like the prized possession of any film, upcoming film, is you don't want to share your script because then everyone knows all the plot points. They know all the spoilers. They know everything. Like, there's nothing left to the imagination. Like, nothing to tease at that point because they know everything.
Right.
And so, like, we had a couple of really long conversations. Like, do you really want to do this? Like, this is so odd.
Yeah, Hollywood would never do that.
No.
In Hollywood, you don't put your script out there. But guess what? We're not Hollywood. This isn't Hollywood. This is something new, and this is something different. And the more we thought about it, the more we were just like, well, we should just put it out there. Because people who are investing in this, they have the right to know what we're doing.
And that's what it ultimately came down to, right? Is in any film, in a Hollywood film, and the investors absolutely have access to the script. They need to know what they're investing in. Right. And so ultimately, I think that's where we kind of settled in and being, mentally comfortable with this idea is like, well, these are our investors. So they should have access to the script.
Right.
And so I think that's how, at least for me, that's how I was able to go to sleep that night.
Yeah.
When we made that decision.
Yeah. So it was a nerve-wracking thing when we finally let it loose. But what we found out is number one,
people loved it.
The script is as good as we think it is. And number two, it only got everybody more excited.
Right.
Instead of spoiling the movie, everybody was just like, oh my gosh, I need to see this happen.
Right.
And so this animatic that we're putting together is just the next step of that.
Which is really cool because, I mean, again, the fear is, oh, I've read it, I don't need to see it, or that'd be cool to see it. But it was genuinely like, well, now that I know, man, I need to see how that plays out. What does that look like on the screen? Like, how does that play out?
Right.
Like, it actually ended up working very well in our favor. And so.
No, it did.
Yeah.
And look, the script is no longer available. We took that down after a few weeks, but I wouldn't be surprised if it maybe comes back here pretty soon. And you'll get a chance to check it out. Julia just pledged $150. Thank you so much, Julia.
Appreciate it.
We are starting to wrap up here. If there are any other last minute questions.
Jim pledged 150.
Jim pledged 150. Thank you, Jim. If there are any last minute questions, please come in. And real quick here, we'll hang on for just another minute more, just in case there are any last minute questions. But please head on over to angel.com/theshift. Not only can you pledge and get in and help let us know that, hey, we need to open up another round of crowdfunding. You can also you can see the Dallas endorsement video, which we're going to show again here in just a minute. You can find that there. You can watch the short film that we shot that will show you a good portion of the first act of the film is in that short film. And you can also see just kind of where our heart is. There's a whole section that we just put up there recently called Deeply Rooted Values. And I'd encourage you to check that out, see where our heart is and what we believe in and why we're making this. We just got a question here from Jim. Can you remind the current viewers what their pledges actually represent? Yes, gauge of interest in eventually investing. Yes. So right now what you're doing is you are not investing. By going to angel.com/theshift and putting your information in and entering a number, you are not giving us any money. We're not looking for that right now.
Right.
What we're just trying to figure out is if we were to start asking for money and having people come in and investing, is there interest to have that happen?
Right.
So basically all you're doing is saying to us, hey, I would love to do that. And if I were to do it, this is how much money I would pledge or I would invest. So there's no promises that you're making here. You don't even have to go through with it. You're just letting us know that you're interested. That's all you're doing. And it only takes a minute to do that. But that's all expressing interest means.
Yeah, it helps us to know if it's worth even going down that road again.
Yeah. Because look, it's a big deal. It's a big deal to open up for investment. I mean, this is fully regulated by the SEC. This isn't like we can just decide one day, oh, let's just do this. No, there's a lot of prep and a lot of that goes into it. So we want to make sure that if we're going to do that, then there's interest in doing so. I mean, so far so good. We're getting close to $700,000 in pledges. If we had reached $7,000, you would have told that embarrassing
I know.
story.
I'm sure you're happy about that.
I'm very happy we're not sharing that
disappointed.
Story. I am sad, however, we didn't get to 700, but we got really close.
Someone could drop a $9,000 investment.
It could happen. But I think we're out of time.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate you. We appreciate those of you that believe in this film, the enthusiasm and the support we're seeing from Kyle Mann, the editor-in-chief of the Babylon Bee, who has just joined us. If you missed that, please check out this video and go back and watch that interview with him. Kyle,
so awesome that he was willing to be a part of this, because
Kyle is such a smart dude.
Yeah, he's on another level.
And if he says that this is something legitimate, I think that's good.
I think that's
good enough. But that's good enough for me. Whether or not it's good enough for you is up to you. But thank you again for joining us, and I think we'll be seeing you guys again real soon.
If you haven't pledged, do it.
Oh, who said that?
Roper said, if you haven't pledged, do it.
Nice. Thank you, Roper. Let's go ahead and let's leave on a good note here, and let's check out that Dallas Jenkins video again. Thank you again, everybody. Have a great night.
Hey there, I'm Dallas Jenkins. I'm the creator of The Chosen, and I wanted to share with you a little bit of why I have actually signed on to be one of the executive producers of The Shift. I remember when I first saw the short film, The Shift, it was probably a couple years ago, and I remember thinking to myself, I don't know who this person is who made this, and I had heard that they did it for no money, but I'm really impressed, and I believe that this guy has a future, and I wanted to see more. I wanted to see where The Shift turned out. I wanted to see how it could be expanded upon. I wanted to see what Brock could do with an actual budget. So The Shift now has a relatively small budget. They're really keeping the budget low, and that's one of the things I'm trying to do, is help them maximize the budget that they do have and making sure that every penny that we spend is spent in the best and most efficient way possible, which is one of the things that I hope, if you've seen The Chosen, you've realized we did there too, was we didn't have Hollywood money, but we had enough to make something special. And I think that's what Brock has now. I think he's going to get, and I hope you can help him get, enough to make something special. And I think the message of The Shift and the future of The Shift is so important. And almost as important as any of that is Brock Heasley. He didn't ask me to say this, I promise. But I can tell you, I've seen his work on a writing side, I've seen it on the directing side. And in my 20 years in the business, there are very few people who I've thought, I want to pour into this person because I think that this person has the chance to be an impactful and disruptive and important storyteller in this business. And that is Brock. Brock is someone who, when I read what he's writing, I'm connected to it. And I want to see more. And I want to be part of it. And it reaches me on both an intellectual level and an emotional level. And if you've seen The Chosen, maybe that's what you've appreciated about it as well, is that it's not just pure emotion. It's emotion that has some thought behind it, but it's also not pure intellect. It's intellect that has some heart behind it. And all of that is, there's kind of an umbrella over all of it of a spiritual importance. Something is being said about our universe and who created it.
Nothing. Nothing. I am greater than God.
Jesus
I am greater.
And that's what The Shift is about. That's what The Chosen is about. It's one of the reasons why I've signed on board, and I hope you can get involved as well to be part of the beginning of what I believe is an important project and who I believe is an important filmmaker.
Express your interest in backing The Shift by clicking on the link today to be among the first to know if the offering launches.
Thank you.